Good morning and welcome to this symposium on the topic of sex, gender, and brain from science to clinical practice. My name is Hyang Woon. I'm currently serve as a chair of Women Faculty Special Interest Group. And as an introduction of this session, I'm going to talk briefly about unveiling sex and gender disparities in brain function and neuropsychiatric disorders. In this order. Okay, so I'm gonna start with one of my favorite movies, Inside Out. The Inside Out 2 just came out last year, and this is, really emotional and touching portrayal of the psychology of adolescence. So it's a mix of new emotions like anxiety, envy, embarrassment, and ennui. The scenes of the brain resetting during the puberty, and how these new emotions increase the complexity of Riley's brain control center were very vivid to me, especially as a mom of teenage girl myself. And so in a recent paper, the authors described the scene as the most striking one. So on the eve of ice hockey camp, Riley's puberty alarm triggers a comedic overhaul of her brain control center. So these new emotions, including anxiety, envy, embarrassment, and ennui, bring fresh conflict. Then, now here comes the questions. Do boys and girls feel and process these emotions the same way in their brains? Or do their brains age in similar ways when they get older? Recently, the academic journals like Nature have shown great interest in sex and gender in science. In particular, Nature has been published a series of commentaries such as scientists call for sex and gender to be factored in research. And here the author mentioned about the recent changes under US President Donald Trump and how this will affect efforts to better integrate sex and gender analysis in research design, and also the mass termination of research grants related to LGBT health, gender identity, and DEI in biomedicine, and how this will affect rates of sex-gender analysis in US-funded research is yet to be seen. Nonetheless, they emphasize it is still very essential to study sex and gender, even as the political tensions rise. So they discussed how they support and motivate researchers in considering sex and gender variables and other issues in their work. Many people agree that with science becoming increasingly competitive worldwide, the sex-gender integration must be incentivized, for example, by being a key criterion in evaluating high-quality research. So it's pretty obvious that many people actually pay attention to the sex differences in their research area, such as dementia risk factors and memory decline in many countries. So I'm actually in my group in Korea. I have an opportunity to involve, this big cohort database study, so-called Korean Genome and Epidemiology Study, KOGIS. Here it collects, it's based, the multi-omics data set they collect demographic and genetic information, health variables, and brain aging study, including brain MRI and polysomnography and sleep variables and genetics and various neurobehavior measures. And it collecting almost 3,000 subjects data starting from 2011, and every 4 years they actually repeat the test. So for now, up to until 2022, they every 4 years they did 3 times of longitudinal follow-up for those variables. The topic we are especially interested in is the relationship between sleep and cognitive decline. So we, as you can see here, the red line for women and the blue line for men, you can see the sleep. Actually, sleep patterns show aging pattern as well. As we age, the sleep duration decrease and the sleep efficiency decrease as well. And the chronotype actually tends to be advanced by aging. That's natural sleep aging pattern. And as you can see, women actually show more vulnerable in sleep aging pattern, across almost all age, except one point, with the exception of an age group of 60 to 65, when typically in Korea, men retire from their work at this age group. So, which is interesting because not only for the sex matters, but also the social gender matters in this aging pattern. And this is where the brain are most affected by sleep declining by aging. So the mid-sleep time advancement by aging affects more of this, frontal and part of the temporal area by aging. And also the genetic subtypes influence the sleep and aging patterns. So these brain areas are in some clock gene genotypes. Some brain areas are more vulnerable to brain atrophy by aging. So this is something we can observe about the relationship between sleep and cognitive decline by natural aging. Here we compare the sex differences in this chronotype and brain aging. So earlier chronotype, I told you chronotype it tends to be advanced by aging, and this earlier chronotype means actually more vulnerable sleep aging pattern. This was associated with smaller right entorhinal gray matter volume and lower visual memory function and visual verbal learning as well. And it's more faster, it influenced the more faster atrophy of temporal lobe longitudinally. If you look at some of the cognitive subdomains here, there is no clear difference in between men and women, mostly at the age of 55. But after the age of 55, the aging pattern in those cognitive domains, for almost all cognitive domains, women are more vulnerable in their cognitive decline. So you can see the differences between men and women are more evident, especially in women, more faster declining, sadly enough. And we look at what clinical factors can be mediators. So we, in this mediator analysis, we put those clinical factors, or whether or not this factor actually can be the mediator that can be involved in the causal relationship between this aging and in this specific cognitive function decline. So in women, interestingly, the sleep latency and BDI, depression, the severity of depression, actually were the only significant moderators in terms of strip test decline by aging, something like that. In comparison, in men, smoking was the only significant moderator in terms of strip test decline by aging. So there were clear sex differences in terms of what factor can be a moderator in this causal relationship between cognitive decline. And so what can be the underlying mechanisms related to sex and gender disparities? Well, we don't know yet exactly, but partially, some evidence show that the role of glial cells is more important than the changes in their neurons. But we should, study more in terms of the specific role of sex and gender differences. And other people actually, in terms of sleep and cognitive function relationship, some people use these specific sleep-related EEG biomarkers. So for example, neocortical slow oscillations or thalamic cortical spindles or hippocampal ripples reactivation. They use that specific biomarkers for the underlying mechanism between sleep and cognitive decline. So we recently, a lot of people actually use a big data set with advanced AI techniques. We try to use the structural MRI, and we applied 3D CNN and GradCam to visualize the differences between men and women, the aging pattern. As you can see here, the female have kind of posterior dominant patterns in their aging, and in comparison in male, they were anterior dominance in terms of which area is more predictable for a brain age prediction. And then we applied integrated functional structural coupling for cognitive prediction modeling, especially here for episodic memory. And we expect that maybe functional structural coupling should be better than just using the individual functional or just structural connectome information just itself. So the results are expected to be, appear more in the near future. So then, what can be the next steps or future directions for this kind of research trends? So the Society for Neuroscience proposed the future developments and vision for neuroscience for the next 50 years, and they emphasized the importance of research for more understanding for the female brain function, because it was understudied before. And they also emphasized that the importance of globally inclusive and comprehensive brain research, especially based on the worldwide population. So data diversity and inclusivity can be some of the important factors in the near future. So we proposed this symposium last year. It was in Seoul back then, and we had wonderful presenters at the time. And this year we continued this symposium, and so we have, including me, we have 4 presenters from now on. So with that, I'd like to invite the second speaker, Natasha Raja. She can talk about the aging pattern in her data set, especially for episodic memory. So we will be able to continuously think about the similar topic together. Thank you.